Welcome to a deadline stream for Matchday 4 of Euro Fantasy Football, and I think I finalised my team, and hopefully there's no kind of last minute shenanigans and changes like there was in the last stream, which was very hectic, but also a lot of people came to the stream, so I really appreciate that. Today is our most successful live stream, and yeah, if you have any questions, any comments about your teams, even my team, then feel free to give your feedback and I will be listening. And of course, you can't have everyone. I have to stress this enough. You can't have everyone, all the top assets like Ronaldo, Lukaku, De Bruyne, all of these people. It's just impossible to fit them all in. And I have a mixture of kind of targeting Matchday 4 in particular, but also some long-term picks. And I'll be explaining it because, for example, you could probably look from here. You'd probably say John Stones is someone that probably won't keep a clean sheet against Germany, but if England were to go through, I think England assets are, worth having one or two of them, and you're already kind of in a good position to build on that. But of course, if Germany do go through, then Stones will probably be a waste. But yeah, we'll wait and see. Thank you everyone who is here. 42 people, really appreciate it. Remember to smash the like button and subscribe if you're new around here. So let's go through all your questions, if this chat loads up. Yeah, so Marcus says, my round of 16 teams: Stecklenburg, Dumfries, Spinazzola captain, Mailer, Wijnaldum, KDB, Alaba, Berardi, Ronaldo, Depay, Benzema, and on your bench, Simon, Gossens, Alba and Sarabia. That looks really good, and I do like those differentials like Sarabia, and you got two Spanish players which I don't think too many people will be going for, so I really like that. And yeah, if I were to pick kind of a Spanish defender, it'd be Jordi Alba, and actually technically you have three Spanish players. You've got double defence and Sarabia. I probably would maybe get rid of one of those Spanish defenders, so whether Simon or Alba, it's up to you. I wouldn't double up on their defence, because even if they do go through against Croatia, which is very likely, I'm not sure if they'd beat France or whoever. I mean, if it was Switzerland going through against France, then fair enough, but if it's France, nah, I don't think so. As for the rest of the team, it looks really good, and there's not really a weakness apart from maybe Alaba, but the rest looks very good. Shadow Gaming says, thoughts on my team: Donnarumma, Stecklenburg, Kimpembe, Dumfries, Mailer, Spinazzola, Torres, KDB, Berardi, Damsgaard, Wijnaldum, Kulusevski, Ronaldo, Depay, Benzema. 3 in the bank and changes. 0.3 in the bank. I like that, to be honest. And Kulusevski should start, and he's a good differential. A lot of people will be going for Forsberg, so going for him is probably, it could be very good. To be honest, I mean, I look at your team. Yeah, it looks really good. The thing is, a lot of our teams are going to be very similar. I just maybe have a bit of caution with Pau Torres. He might be benched, but the rest looks very good, and there's a case to have all of them. MSK says, what's the better duo, Ronaldo and Damsgaard or Immobile and Wijnaldum? I think Immobile and Wijnaldum, considering this game week, and also Wijnaldum has good fixtures, even in the quarterfinals if Netherlands were to go through. So yeah, I'd go for the second pair. I think Ronaldo and Depay will be the best. Yeah, they could be, to be honest, but I am slightly back in Belgium in that game against Portugal, but it's going to be tough. Should I keep Mbappe or change to Depay? I would have Depay this week. I think he is, even if he doesn't do well this week, I think if Netherlands were to go through, he's definitely got the ability to do well against whoever they face in the quarterfinals, so which I think would be Sweden or Ukraine. So yeah, I'd probably go for him. And if not, actually, what would it be? No, Wales and Denmark, sorry. I think England would face Sweden or Ukraine if they were to go through. Is Sarabia nailed? To be honest, he's not completely nailed, but after that performance, it'd be very harsh to drop him. Same with Moreno. And to be honest, I think having one Spanish attacker is worth it. And to be honest, in my opinion, it's worth going for one of their budget options, not Morata and these kind of more expensive picks. I think Sarabia or Moreno, and I think Sarabia should start. What made you switch from Ronaldo to Immobile, Dylan? Really targeting this fixture against Austria. And also, what I like about it is it gives me a balance. So it enables me to get Kevin De Bruyne in the midfield. I like having this front three. I think they're three of the best options this week. With Ronaldo, never discount him. I have to keep stressing this. Don't discount Ronaldo. But, I mean, if they actually go through Portugal, and they're facing Belgium, by the way, they're going to face Italy most likely. So it just doesn't get any easier. And if they do go through, they'd face Spain or France most likely in the semi-final. So it's just, I don't know, there's too many tough games there, and I don't know. Will Portugal keep getting penalties? I'm not so sure. They definitely got the ability to do that. But I'm not entirely sure about 12 million on Ronaldo. What's up, bro? Not much. Thank you, Kobe, for joining in. Damsgaard or Sarabia? Tough one. I think I prefer Sarabia, but Damsgaard is a good option, and he's cheaper, and it could maybe free up a bit of funds. Di Lorenzo or no? I think he's good, but I'm not entirely sure if he'll start. I think he will, but I just prefer Donnarumma and Spinazzola. Kind of set and forget. They should start, and no problems there. Hi Dylan, is Chiesa starting? Probably not, Raul. It would be Berardi, most likely. Pick 2, Perisic, Insigne and Yarmolenko. I'd probably go for Insigne and Yarmolenko out of those 3. Pavard and Gossens or Kimpembe and Alba? Good question. I'd probably go for Kimpembe and Alba. I think I already answered your question, Sharma, when you posted it in a comment on my video. Immobile or Benzema? I think, you know what, personally for this week, I think Immobile. But going forward, maybe Benzema. Ronaldo or Immobile? I think for this week Immobile, but overall, probably Ronaldo. John Stones or Luke Shaw? I'd probably go for John Stones. Luke Shaw should start, and he's got a bit of attacking threat about him, but I just go for John Stones. How's it going, Dylan? Been a while. Ready to go. My FPL draft all done. Yeah, I mean, speaking about FPL, I think I don't really like the prices this season. I just think that the template's going to be very strong. Hopefully, I'm wrong about that. What do you feel about Immobile, Insigne, Spinazzola, and Giovanni Di Lorenzo as the 4 Italian players, or maybe Immobile, Insigne, Berardi, and Spinazzola? Good question. Personally, I mean, I'm going to be biased. I prefer the 4 that I have. Donnarumma, Spinazzola, Berardi and Immobile. But Insigne is good. And yeah, he's always a good option. Out of those 2 kind of quartets that you said, I'd probably go for the second one. Do you think Pavard is a good option? I think he's decent, but you might as well just go for Kimpembe in my opinion, because Koundé could start in Pavard's position. Pavard was awful in Matchday 2 against Hungary. And yeah, I don't know. I think Kimpembe, 5.6 million. He's got a bit of aerial threat. I just go for him personally. And Hernandez also, he's got a bit of a niggle, I think. Digne is out for the rest of the tournament, apparently. But yeah, I think he's a good option. But you might as well go for Lloris or Kimpembe or Varane, in my opinion. By the way, I did see somewhere that Donyell Malen is going to start alongside Depay instead of Workhorse. So I'm not exactly sure how reliable the source is. But if that's true, I think it's good for the Netherlands and for all your assets, and also for anyone who wants a cheap striker. I think Marlon could be alright. Ronaldo or Lukaku? I prefer Lukaku, but if you already have De Bruyne, I'd go for Ronaldo. Pavard or Alba? I prefer Alba. Is Pau Torres going to start? I don't think he's completely nailed, mate. Ronaldo's Ronaldo. He is fixture proof. Yeah, I know. I keep on saying this, by the way. A lot of hate has been directed towards him. I've been seeing in the comment section of my videos. Of course, he's a great striker. He can always score. Doesn't matter if it's penalties or what. The points are points. But I just think for this week, I want to have Immobile, I want to have Depay and Benzema. And, ideally, I'd have probably Ronaldo over Benzema, potentially. But then I have to downgrade somewhere else. And I just like the team that I have, to be honest. Is 4 Italians the way to go? I think, to be honest, I would probably say... You know what? I think 3 is probably the ideal number, but 4 isn't too bad. The reason why I say maybe 4 is a bit excessive, and I say this, and I've already got 4 Italians. The problem with that, I mean, to be honest, is that if they go through, they would face a really tough opponent in Belgium or Portugal. So that's what I would say about that. Gossens or Alba? To be honest, I'd go for Alba, yeah. If he can do in the group of death, he can do in the round of 16. Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm not denying that. The point is that obviously he costs a lot of money, and also you have to also think, is he going to go through? Is Portugal going to go through? And the ceiling might be lower compared to what it usually is for Ronaldo. But of course, it's all down to opinion. If you want Ronaldo, go for him. I personally might just be steering away from him, despite having him in my first draft for the round of 16. Was and Donnarumma or Di Lorenzo and Schmeichel. Plan is double Danish and Italian defence. Okay, I think double Danish defence could be very good for this week, but I wouldn't use it going forward. So I think one's enough. And personally, I go for Mæhle. I think he's the best option from Denmark. And Italian defence, yeah, I think a double is worth it. But obviously, bear in mind that if Italy do go through, they probably face Portugal or Belgium. Di Lorenzo or someone else, I just go for Spinazzola and Donnarumma. But if you want a defender, I think Di Lorenzo is a good option. But I don't know. I don't think he's completely nailed. Thoughts on Kulusevski? I think he's far more promising than Forsberg as an asset if he starts, and he is cheaper, but I just question if he will start. Do you reckon he will? I think he will, but what I've been seeing a lot of Swedish kind of fans of the national team say is that the manager isn't really... He's a bit rigid in his thinking in terms of who starts, and once he has a starting lineup, he kind of sticks to it. And Kulusevski might have that kind of role as an impact sub, but I think he should start. But I just prefer Forsberg. He's the talisman. He's on all set pieces. And yeah, I think his ceiling is slightly higher. I could be wrong there, but I think they're both good options. Damsgaard and Simon or Højbjerg and Donnarumma? Good question. I'd probably go for Damsgaard and Simon. But to be honest, Højbjerg has been very good in this tournament in terms of creating chances, getting assists. Pogba or Forsberg? I'd go for Forsberg. I think Pogba I think his ceiling is way lower, and Forsberg is the talisman. Forsberg or Yarmolenko? I'd go for Forsberg. By the way, the lineups are out for Wales and Denmark. I'll be checking that in a bit. Thank you for reminding me, Kobe. Lukaku or De Bruyne? I'd personally go for De Bruyne because it also allows you to get Immobile, Depay, Benzema, Ronaldo, etc. up front. But that's just what I think. And personally, what I do believe is that De Bruyne's ceiling is slightly higher than Lukaku's, but they're both great options, no doubt about it. Which two teams are you backing to reach the final? Oddly enough, I think from the kind of difficult side of it, so where Belgium, Italy, all these kind of teams are in, I think Belgium or France will reach the final. And then from the other side, it's between England and Netherlands. If I had to pick two, based on what I've seen so far, I'd actually be tempted to say Belgium versus Netherlands, but I don't know. I think Netherlands haven't faced anyone difficult yet, and they could be exposed soon. That is a possibility, but they have a very good run to the final, potentially. England would be their toughest opponent, potentially, or Germany in the semi-final. But yeah, never discount Germany, Portugal, and who else have I discounted? Italy. Italy have been very good in this tournament. I have Pavard and Kimpembe together. Is that okay? I personally would just go for one. That's my opinion, because if France do go through, they most likely will face Spain. And to be fair, they could keep a clean sheet there. But I just go for one. But there's no problem with having two. Insigne or Forsberg? Already have Immobile and Berardi. I'd go for Forsberg, definitely. Højbjerg or Damsgaard? I prefer Damsgaard, mate, for both you, Ryan and Sean, who asked. And yeah, I agree with Father of Aesthetics. Who would you pick between Damsgaard, Sarabia and Højbjerg? I'd pick Sarabia, then it'd be Damsgaard, then it'd be Højbjerg. Stones or Gossens? I'd go for Stones because I prefer England's defence. Gossens has higher upside, there's no doubting that. And if you obviously like those sort of wing-backs who have a lot of attacking potential, then by no means, I'm not stopping you, but I prefer Stones. I prefer England's defence. Pavard or Kimpembe? Kimpembe, Arian. Benzema or Lukaku? I prefer... Long term, I prefer Lukaku, but for this game week, Benzema. Immobile or Ronaldo? This game week, Immobile. Overall, Ronaldo, if obviously they do go through. Marlon is starting, confirmed by the media. Yeah, that's what I alluded to earlier, Bakul. Thank you for that. Which teams do you think would make it through to the semi-final? Yeah, as I said before, really, just some of those teams. France, so what would it be? Yeah, I think France, Belgium, semi-final. And on the other side, I think it'd be Netherlands and either England or Germany. I'm not sure about that one. I'd be maybe leaning towards England a bit because of their defence, but I'm not sure. I mean, in terms of mentality, Germany have always kind of been superior to England in that regard. If I don't use the free transfer next week, which will be free transfers, will it carry forward? So I'll have 8 free transfers in the semi. No, I wouldn't be like that, unfortunately. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't. It's the same in UCL Fantasy. Do you know if Di Lorenzo's starting? No, I don't, mate, Jack, unfortunately. But I think Di Lorenzo is a good option. He's not completely nailed, but I think he should start. The problem is when Florenzi kind of gets back into training for maybe the quarterfinals or semi-finals, that's when it could be an issue. Ronaldo for Benzema and Havertz for De Bruyne? Not for me. I think Benzema and De Bruyne's a better duo, especially this week. Immobile or Lukaku? For this week, Immobile, in my opinion, but overall Lukaku. My team, Donnarumma, Stecklenburg, Spinazzola, Dumfries, Mela, Gossens, Denayer, KDB, Berardi, Wijnaldum, Damsgaard, Forsberg, Ronaldo, Depay, Benzema. Thoughts? Very solid team. The only kind of doubt I would have is Denayer, but the rest looks very good. And Gossens, I already made my feelings clear about Germany. I don't like the defence, but Gossens has plenty of attacking upside. My team, and this is what Sharma says, Donnarumma, Stecklenburg, Alba, Kimpembe, Mela, Spinazzola, Dumfries, Forsberg, Højbjerg, Insigne, Berardi, Wijnaldum, Depay, Ronaldo, Benzema, captain, Insigne. Any changes suggested? Personally, no. If you have a bit more money, if you have enough money to do this, I'd probably go Højbjerg to Damsgaard. But other than that, it looks very solid. I don't want to be too cynical, but a lot of our teams are similar based on the community, on Twitter, on YouTube, unfortunately. But it kind of does seem a bit easier to kind of build the best team possible. And I wouldn't say the options are limited. There are plenty of options and there could be some surprises. But yeah, I think the template is going to be very strong in this kind of stage of the competition. Hey mate, hope you're keeping well. How many of Lukaku, KDB and Ronaldo would you have? I'd probably have 2, Marco, but there's no problem with having all 3. They could all haul and Belgium go through, for example, but it is a risk. Have a wildcard to use in the quarterfinals, can have 0, 1 or 2 of these, yeah. I'd go for 2. if not one, yeah. Ronaldo, Benzema, Depay, or Benzema, Immobile, Depay. Very good question. I'd probably go for, the second set, based on Matchday 4 only. But I do think Ronaldo's a better long-term option than Immobile. Damsgaard or Sarabia? Sarabia, mate, but I do like Damsgaard. Jota, Lukaku, or Ronaldo and KDB? Ronaldo and KDB. Why not Bale? He's a good option, mate, but I think Wales are going to get knocked out, and if they do go through, I expect them to be knocked out next round. Bale's done well for me. I think it was Matchday 2 in the Limitless, he was my captain, but yeah, I'm just not going to be going for that. Bakul asked a very good question. Who are you captaining? So, just to make my captaincy clear, now that this team is more or less finalised, so today, I'm going to be captaining Immobile, but I'm also tempted by Spinazzola. But yeah, most likely I'll be having on Immobile if I keep him. Tomorrow, my captain would be Depay. No doubt about it. I think he's the standout option, potentially for the whole match day. And then for the 28th of June, so 2 days from now, I'd probably be going for Benzema. That's what I think I'm going to be doing. And on the final day, if need be, Forsberg would be my final captain. So very happy with those. I think they're 4 of the best captaincy options this week. Obviously, De Bruyne, Lukaku, Ronaldo in that tough fixture, they're still good captaincy options, but the ceiling potentially might be lower. But yeah, I really like my captaincy choices for this week. Is Mæhle playing in a back 4? I think Denmark are playing a back 3. And they did that in the last 2 games, and they look much more impressive than they did against Finland. But let me check the lineups, actually. Thank you for reminding me, because I haven't seen it yet. So, oh god, adverts. Anyway, Wales versus Denmark. Let's see the lineups. So, shouldn't be too many surprises here. Danny Ward is in goal for Wales. Roberts, Mepham, Rodon, Davis in the defence. Morrell or Morel, I'm probably an idiot, and Joe Allen, the mighty Joe Allen in the midfield. Bale, Ramsey and Daniel James in behind Moore. And then with Denmark, they're playing a back 3. Schmeichel's in goal, Vestergaard, Kjær, Christensen, Mæhle's playing as a left midfielder, Thomas Delaney, Højbjerg as the central midfielders, and Daniel Wass is on the right hand side. And then the front 3 is Damsgaard, Poulsen and Braithwaite. So yeah, no surprises there at all. And yeah, Denmark are playing in a back 3. So good question there. Thank you for that. And thank you everyone who is here, over 200 people. I'm just going to be saying it once, hopefully, unless I forget. And subscribe if you're new to the channel, and smash the like button, and share this video around with anyone who loves Euro Fantasy Football, FPL and UCL Fantasy. I'll be doing more videos in the future. And follow me on Twitter and Instagram. My handle is Dylan_RCM, which is the same as my YouTube username. So yeah, really appreciate everyone who is here. I'll be going back to my team. And you know what, I'm a bit disappointed because, the more teams I kind of see and hear about, I just want to be different. And the likes of Sarabia, they are differentials. I think he's 4% owned, unless he's gone up. Yeah, 4% owned. But ultimately, I want more. But I'm just going for the kind of players I think are best. But yeah, 1 or 2 more differentials would be nice, I think. Let's see. Apologies, I'm trying to get back all the way to the top. I'm trying to go through questions that I haven't answered yet. Sarabia or Damsgaard, I already said that before. It'd be Sarabia. Damsgaard or Højbjerg, I'd go for Damsgaard. Captain Berardi or Spinazzola, I'd go for Spinazzola. Wait, is Marlon starting for sure? Not for sure, but according to supposedly reliable sources, Marlon will be starting alongside Depay. Ronaldo or Depay? I prefer Depay, because also he has a good fixture in quarterfinals potentially. If I have a wild card left, what risk should I take this match day? That's a very good question, and I think for anyone who does have a wild card, you are in a position to take more risks. So let me go through the fixtures. Hopefully you're still here, and for anyone who is on a wild card, bear this in mind. These are kind of more differentials. Not many people in the community will be going for them, but I think from the Wales-Denmark game, you could maybe lean a bit towards Wales and go for Ramsey or Gareth Bale. I think Bale would be my kind of ideal pick from that game. And then from Denmark, you could maybe go for a Poulsen or a Braithwaite. I think Poulsen would probably be a bit of a better asset, but yeah, you could go for him. Damsgaard is going to be highly owned because of his price, or at least more highly owned than before. You could also go for him, but I do think he's kind of template. But yeah, Mæhle. What you could also do, not just about the players you get, but also the combination of players. So for example, if you're looking to take risks and you back Denmark to keep a clean sheet against Wales, what you could do is double up on their defence, or even triple up, which is very risky, I know, but if you have the wild card, you already have that assurance. So bear that in mind. In terms of Italy, Austria, the kind of best assets, I wouldn't be recommending too much else, but Immobile, Spinazzola, Di Lorenzo, Donnarumma, and Berardi. You could all, just go for the players. You don't want to be too different in that game, I think. Netherlands against Czech Republic, I think, once again, the standout options are kind of obvious, but you could go for Daniel Malen, who should be starting, according to the news reports. He could be a very good differential. Not many people will be having him because there's that kind of debate between him and Workhorst. Belgium-Portugal, this is where you could go for maybe 3 or 4 players from this match, and personally I think the best would be Kevin De Bruyne, Lukaku and Ronaldo. So you could maybe go for all 3, and even if it's a high-scoring game and Belgium go through or Portugal go through, it doesn't matter because you can just wildcard in the next stage. But yeah, from the Netherlands game, I'm trying to think. Yeah, just be Marlon really. You could maybe go for a triple up in Netherlands defence, to be fair, or double up. But to be fair, that's what I'm already doing, and I'm not wildcarding. Croatia against Spain, you could maybe go for a Perisic if you back him to do well. But otherwise, with Spain, you could go for Moreno, you could go for Sarabia, Jordi Alba, Unai Simon. Yeah, but to be honest, what you could do maybe is, as someone said earlier, you could triple up on Spanish defence if you back a clean sheet there. So it ultimately depends what you think is going to happen. I always say this. I can't obviously be telling you what I think based on what I think is going to happen in terms of the results and stuff, because ultimately you might think differently. France against Switzerland, what you could do is have 4 players, because for example, you look at my team, I already have Kimpembe and Benzema, but I don't have 4 of them. So you could really attack this France-Switzerland fixture and go for Benzema, Mbappe, even Griezmann. I wouldn't go for all 3 at the same time, but you could go for 2 strikers there, 2 French strikers, and then you could maybe go for double defence. So that's something you could do, and I think on a wild card, that's something I would definitely be aiming for. England against Germany, this is where you could maybe go for a bit more kind of puntier picks, maybe Müller, Gnabry, Havertz. Havertz would probably be the standout one. You could go for Gossens, and then from England you can go for Harry Kane. I know he's had a poor tournament so far, but don't rule him out. He could come good. Raheem Sterling. Even, I think Phil Foden should be coming back into the side. Jack Grealish, you can take a bit more, risks in that. And also, you can go for Luke Shaw, or one of the fullbacks from England, who they tend to rotate, but when you have a wild card, you have that kind of safety net where you can just get away with that. And Sweden, Ukraine, what you could do is maybe double up on Ukraine attack with Yaremchuk and Yarmolenko, but if you back a Sweden clean sheet, you could go for 2 or 3 Sweden defenders, including the goalkeeper Olsen, and then I'd probably go for Forsberg or Kulusevski, and you could even do a double up in their midfield with Kulusevski and Forsberg, or go for Isaac and then one of the 2 that I just mentioned. So hopefully that kind of sums up the kind of puntier and kind of different ways you can go about it this game week if you have a wild card and you have that safety net. So hopefully you caught all of that, and yeah, we're good to go. And yeah, I definitely don't want to overthink this team like I did last week, because the overthinking did cost me in the end very dearly. So yeah, I'm just going to be seeing what happens there. I'm going to try scroll back up to the chat, so apologies if you are putting a comment right now and I'm not answering yet. I will be doing that very shortly. But yeah, thank you everyone who is here. Really appreciate it. Ryan says, good team lineup, good luck for the match day, thank you, and hopefully you do really well too. Insigne and Lukaku instead of De Bruyne and Immobile? Not for me, mate. I prefer De Bruyne and Immobile personally. Insigne, Gossen, Simon versus Forsberg, Alba, Donnarumma. Great question. I'd go for the second set though. I like that trio very much, and Alba's someone I'm considering myself. Captain Berardi, Spinazzola or Insigne? Mate, don't worry, I don't err. The point of this channel is to try get through every single question. I go for Spinazzola out of those 3 personally. I already talked about Spinazzola. He's got the clean sheet potential and he can get an attack in return. So hopefully you got that young Eyes or Izzy. Hopefully my pronunciations aren't that bad today. Is Toloi starting, Dylan? I'm not sure, to be honest. I think it's between him and Di Lorenzo, but Spinazzola should be starting for sure. I'd say Bonucci. Then it's between Chiellini and Nicerbi, but I think, yeah, Chiellini is injured, isn't he? And then, yeah, it'd be between Di Lorenzo and Toloi, but I'm not exactly sure there. But Toloi, he's been very good when he's played. Should I upgrade Damsgaard or to Sarabia or keep funds for transfers for quarterfinals? It ultimately depends how you think the Spain-Croatia game will go. If you see maybe more than a goal for Spain, Sarabia will probably be a big part of that so long as he starts. So it might be worth it. But then again, for Denmark, Damsgaard has been very impressive and he faces Wales. So there's not a big difference between the 2, I reckon. But I do prefer Sarabia. So if you do have enough money, I'd probably go there. Insigne, Lukaku, Immobile and KDB. Immobile and KDB, as I've said all day. What do you think of Poulsen? Yeah, so when I was talking about the kind of riskier picks you can go for, especially if you have a wild card, I think Poulsen's a good option, no doubt about it. Insigne and Pau Torres or Sarabia and Alba? Jesus, speak properly then. And Alba, not Alaba. I probably would go for Sarabia and Alba. I like that. Will Sarabia start? It's not completely certain, Laurie, but I think he will. or Laurie. Immobile or Insigne? I prefer Immobile. How many transfers do we get in the quarterfinal? I believe we have 3, but let me check once again. I did actually make a video, so I should be, knowing this off by heart, but unfortunately, a lot has happened since then. So let's just go through the rules just to make this completely kind of certain for everyone, including myself. And this is something I addressed in my first draft video. Wait, what can't... Just, read the rules, damn it. Jesus. Anyway, let's go. In terms of transfers, let's go all the way here. Making transfers. So, before the quarterfinals, we only have 3. But then for the semifinals and final, we have 5. This is kind of different to, once again, UCL Fantasy, which is the kind of most similar game to this. Because in that one, you would have 3 transfers to make for free before the... So after the first leg is done and before the second leg, and then before the next round, so before reaching the quarterfinals, that's when you get 5. So you get a bit more flexibility with UCL Fantasy. With this, you have to be very careful with your transfers. So only 3 transfers, it is a bit risky, to be honest. So the main thing I would suggest for all of you is to basically all of your players, for the vast majority, you want them to be going through. So just kind of think about what you think is going to happen. I don't know why I'm saying think about what you're going to think. But in terms of like France versus Switzerland, who do you think is going to go through? Most likely France. You go for the French players, not Switzerland players. When you look at my team, for example, if I'm being honest, I really only see maybe 2 or 3 players being knocked out. So maybe John Stones, maybe Forsberg, and maybe Mailer. Sarabia could be another one too, but the rest you'd expect to go through. So that's why maybe loading up on certain teams, maybe not too excessively, but 2 or 3 from certain teams, the kind of favourites to go far, like Netherlands, like Italy, that's kind of your best bet. So just bear that in mind. And 3 transfers, it's not really a lot, to be honest. Let's see. Benzema versus Lukaku. Benzema for this week, Lukaku overall. Is Sarabia starting? Once again, I have to insist. I'm not exactly sure if he's going to start, but my gut feeling is he will after his performance against Slovakia. Alba and Goretzka or Sarabia and Digne? Digne is out for the rest of the tournament, mate, I believe. And even then, Lucas Hernandez is the starting left back. But I'm not even exactly sure if he's even fine himself. But the Digne news I heard maybe a few days ago, but I haven't really seen it reported anywhere. So it could be BS, to be honest. But I'd probably go for Sarabia and maybe just go for Kimpembe, for example. Answer that question, Paudel, about Benzema. Would you go for Gossens and Havertz? No, not for a double up anyway. From one of them, it's worth it, potentially, but I wouldn't go for both of them. Ronaldo, Forsberg versus Immobile, De Bruyne. Immobile, De Bruyne for me. Who would you suggest for forwards instead of Immobile? I have 4 Italy players already. If you have 4 players already, you have to get rid of one of them to facilitate that move for Immobile. Remember, you can only have 4 players from the same nation in the round of 16. Then it increases to 5 in the quarterfinals, and then vice versa for the semifinals and final. But if you don't want Immobile, I'd probably say Insigne. Berardi's kind of an obvious one. He's cheap. He's an enabler, so a lot of people will have him. But I think Insigne would be the best alternative. Ronaldo, Lukaku, or Immobile. For this week, Immobile. Overall, I think Lukaku's my favourite of the 3. Croatia will beat Spain on penalties. I mean, I'm guessing by your name you are Croatian. It could happen, to be fair. I do think Croatia could nick a goal or 2. So that's why I'm not going for a Spanish goalkeeper or defender. But there's still good options, don't get me wrong. Paulson injured. Are you serious? Paulson not in the lineup. So what lineup did I read? I swear. You know what? From now on, I've learnt my lesson. Do not read lineups from SofaScore. Not even SofaScore. LiveScore. The lineup is exactly as I said it. But Dolberg is in instead of Paulson. Thank you for correcting me there. And Larson is in instead of Daniel Wass, isn't it? Yeah. So those are the 2 changes in that team. What about Wales? I think everything else is the same. Connor Roberts at right back. I'm not sure if I read him out, but the rest is exactly as we anticipated. From now on, I'm going to be using SofaScore or Google. But thank you for that correction. Really appreciate it. Let's see. What do you think about Insigne? In terms of Italian attackers, I'd rank them in terms of probably Berardi's my ideal one, for the whole tournament. But for this week, Immobile's the best. Then Berardi, then Insigne. That's how I kind of rank them. But he's a good option. Højbjerg or Damsgaard? Damsgaard for me. Same for you, Mateja. Same answer. Ronaldo and Insigne or KDB and Immobile? I answered this question already, Parada, and KDB and Immobile is my answer. Do you have any plans for the free transfers on the quarterfinals? Well, it depends on who gets eliminated, to be honest. But if, let's assume that everyone goes through from my team, or at least the vast majority, maybe just 1 or 2 transfers needed, and I have that extra space, I might actually get rid of Immobile and get whoever goes through from Ronaldo and Lukaku, potentially, or maybe even Harry Kane, because if England go through against Germany, then I really like the kind of run to the final, so Kane could be good there. But to be honest, it ultimately depends. I have to see all the results and then I can give you a kind of concrete answer. Right now, I'm literally just kind of imagining scenarios. KDB and Immobile, I agree, Kumar. Alba, Lucas Hernandez or Pavard, I'd go for Jordi Alba. And personally, I'd go for Kimpembe or Varane over Lucas Hernandez and Pavard. Do you think Koundé will start? I think it's a possibility, and that's another reason why I just don't like Pavard. Yeah, Hernandez is injured, fair enough. So I'm not sure about Digne. He could be someone, but I don't know. I just keep hearing this kind of news about him being injured. I need to check. But yeah, always just go off kind of reliable sources. No Poulsen and Was in Denmark squad. Yeah, exactly, KFH. Should I change Kante? Yeah, definitely. Kante's useless in this game. And as soon as I say that, watch him score his first Euros goal. But yeah, I mean, he's around 5.5 million, isn't he? I'd go for... If you have enough money, Damsgaard, and if you can stretch it even more, Sarabia. So yeah, around 6.5 million and below, Sarabia, Berardi, Damsgaard are the best options. And then if not, if you just have 5.5 million, just go for Højbjerg, I think. Ronaldo and Insigne or Immobile and De Bruyne. Once again, Immobile and De Bruyne. I have to keep stressing it. Is Berardi starting? I mean, the lineups aren't out until 8, or should I say 7? Maybe a bit before 7 p.m. GMT. But I think Berardi will start, but I couldn't tell you for sure. Should I use Pavard or Kimpembe? I prefer Kimpembe. Will Berardi start? Yeah, once again, I have to say this. I don't know it for sure, but I think he will. I don't obviously want to say something and then, it turns out not being true. I'm just going to give you my opinion, and my opinion is he will start, but we'll see. I'm thinking about swapping out Ronaldo, but I'm not confident in the other options, Immobile, Lukaku. Yeah, I get what you mean. The reason why I got Immobile, I'm not that confident in him either, but what I like is the fixture. In terms of the betting odds, he's one of the most likely to score and assist. And I think his ceiling is just higher than Ronaldo this week. Obviously, that doesn't mean Ronaldo can't outscore him. He definitely can. But yeah, going forward, I already talked about this. If I have a free transfer to spare, I probably will be getting rid of Immobile. So that's something worth considering. You also want to have some good long-term assets. That's why I have John Stones, for example, who I don't really trust that much against Germany, but I do like England going forward if they do go through. Let's fucking go, says Stone Hydra. Nice name. Who are you backing in Germany, England? To be honest, it's really tight. I couldn't tell you for sure, but if I had to pick one, it'd probably be England, but I'm not that sure about it. Normally, I'd say Germany, no doubt about it. I think historically, Germany are just much better at football, but I think this year, England do have a better team, definitely a better defence. Damsgaard or Højbjerg? I'd go for Damsgaard. Is Ronaldo favourable? Of course he's favourable, but his fixture and then potential, fixtures in the quarters and semis, I just don't like them, but never rule him out. Damsgaard or Sarabia? Sarabia, mate. Berardi starting? Once again, I have to say this. I think he will, but let's see at 7 o'clock. Lukaku or Benzema? Benzema for this match day. Lukaku overall. Damsgaard or Højbjerg? Damsgaard once again. Who do you think will go through between England, Germany and Belgium, Portugal? England and Belgium, I think, but they're both very tight. They're on the Euros app. Check the lineups by clicking on the match. Yeah, they are, but yeah, I'm using my phone actually to read the live chat. That's how I do it. Damsgaard or Sarabia? Sarabia. Ronaldo or Immobile? Immobile for this week. Ronaldo is definitely better overall. Why no Ronaldo? Once again, I have to explain this, but his ceiling, I think, in this match day is lower than, for example, Immobile, Depay and Benzema. And if Portugal do go through, they face, I don't want to get this wrong, Italy most likely. And then if they go through into the semi-finals, it's France or Spain. So the fixtures are just very poor for Ronaldo. But, of course, he's fixture-proof. He can do anything against anyone. He showed it in the group of death. Don't deny his quality, but for that extra 2 million, it allows me to have a good all-round squad. And I don't like Højbjerg, for example, and that was someone I had to have in order to facilitate Ronaldo, and also Stones down to Pau Torres. So, yeah, I just like this squad overall. But in the future, I'm not, discounting him. I could definitely get him in for the quarterfinals, for example. And there's a reason why I had him in my first draft video. He's an incredible player. We all know, how good he is. But yeah, there's no such thing as, Ronaldo's a bad asset or a good asset this week. I just personally think there might be higher ceilings elsewhere. Not buying Lukaku or Ronaldo, I think I will going forward, especially for Immobile. But it's a wait and see, really. Spinazzola captaincy. You know, he would have been my captain if I had Ronaldo instead of Immobile, really. So we'll see. Damsgaard or Sarabia? Sarabia for me, mate. Will Berardi start today? Mate, I already answered your question. There's no need to repeat it once again. Who is the best defender at 4.9? Instead of Pau Torres, I have Mela and no wildcard. And looking at Kjaer or Danielson. If you read this already, I'm sorry. No, I didn't read it. My apologies. I'd go for Danielson because, yeah, even if you have a wildcard, you could maybe double up on Denmark defence. But I think Wales could score a goal. That's what I personally think. Always back your gut. But yeah, I'd probably go for Danielson. What do you think about Højbjerg? Around 5.5 million and below, I think he's probably one of the better options, but he's not someone I'm comfortable with having in my team. Is Cristiano Rana? What? Forsberg or Damsgaard? Forsberg for me. What about Danielson as a budget option? I talked about him in my team selection video and also first draft video when I was talking about the best options from other teams that we're maybe not looking at. I talked about Danielson, I think Augustinsson, and also Olsen. I think one of them is good for that fixture. Once again, Ben Fabry, I think Berardi will start, but I couldn't tell you for sure. Hopefully I'm not asked that again. Who do you think will take penalties for Italy? I think they'll have one today. I think Immobile, but I could be wrong about that. Lukaku or Benzema? Benzema for this week. Lukaku overall. Pogba, not for me, mate. Jorginho, yeah, I mean, yeah, true. He could be on penalties, actually. Jorginho, yeah, that's true. Jorginho Immobile would kind of spring to mind. Yeah, that's a shout, Jorginho. Am I risking Sarabia and Jordi Alba? Not really. I think they're both good options, to be honest. Ronaldo? I mean, you can't have everyone. I have to stress this so much. You can't have everyone. I would love to have him as well. If there was, you know, an ability to have 4 strikers, then yeah, you know, rest assured I would have Ronaldo. Should I change Kevin De Bruyne? I personally wouldn't, because I think he's just one of the best assets in the game. He's got the most goal contributions, I think, since the last World Cup of any international player. So I wouldn't, but it's up to you. What do you think about Jota? I fancy him to get a lot of chances on the counter against Belgium's dodgy backline. Yeah, that's potentially, you know, something that could happen. I think from that game, it's Ronaldo really that I'd want, not Jota. Maguire or Stones? They're both good options. I think Maguire, he probably gets more chances in terms of, you know, set pieces and, you know, because of his aerial threat, but maybe Stones is more likely to score. I know it sounds a bit weird. They're both good options. I'm just going for Stones just in case Maguire, his injury kind of comes back and it forces him out. But yeah, I'm going for Stones. They're both good options, I think. Damsgaard or Sarabia? Sarabia, mate. Insigne and Gossens or Alba and Forsberg? Alba and Forsberg. Damsgaard or Berardi? Berardi for me. Gossens, Pau Torres or Danielson? I would prefer... That's a tough one. I'd probably go with Danielson this week. But I do like Pau Torres as well if he starts. I just don't know if he will. How do the changes to the Denmark lineup affect them? Well, let me go back to it again. So yeah, there's no Poulsen. I think that's a big blow for them. And he's one of the kind of best players in the tournament so far for Denmark. So I think they are going to be affected up front. They're going to need Braithwaite to have his shooting boots on, and Dolberg needs to be, you know, that presence up front. But yeah, I think they are going to be affected slightly. I think Was has also got a lot of energy in the midfield, and also he's obviously playing as a wing-back for Valencia and also Denmark. But yeah, I think it is going to affect them, and Wales actually have a better opportunity to go through now. Let's see, I'm trying to get back up to the questions I've missed, so apologies for that. Yeah, cards get reset in the top 16. I think the yellow cards get reset after the round of 16, yeah. But not obviously before the... Jordi Alba or Kimpembe? I think Jordi Alba has a higher upside this week, but I just prefer Kimpembe. What about Bale? He's a good option, mate. No doubt about it, but I'm just... You look at the other midfield options, and I just prefer them personally. That's what I think. Modric or Perisic? Perisic, no doubt about it. Why does everyone favour Benzema? I don't think he will score more. Really, it's because he's on penalties. He's getting the bulk of chances for France, and he's only 10 million. He's the cheapest option. And to be honest, in that Switzerland game, I think Mbappe will score the highest, but he's an extra 2 million, and I just can't afford it. Kimpembe and Lloris or Unai Simon and Alba? Personally, I'd go for one of each. That's what I think. So I'd probably go for Unai Simon and Kimpembe, but that's just my opinion. Gossens, Pau Torres, yeah, answer that question. Double up on France defence, I think for this week, yeah, especially if you're on a wild card, or you have a wild card, should I say. Otherwise, I think one's enough, really. Is Damsgaard starting? Yes, he is. And is he worth it? I think so. For his price, he's one of the better options, but he could blank, of course. So, you know, let's wait and see. Insigne or Damsgaard? I prefer, to be honest... I mean, out of the two, Insigne, but Damsgaard is probably better value for money. KDB or Sarabia? KDB for me. What do you think about Guerreiro? Nah, I'm not going near Portugal defenders. I think Belgium are going to score at least a goal. I'd be surprised if Portugal keep a clean sheet. Immobile or Lukaku? Lukaku overall, but for this match day, Immobile. I have almost the same team, but Gosens and Pavard instead of Stones and Kimpembe. What do you think? Yeah, they're good options. Gosens probably has more attacking upside than Stones and Kimpembe. And Pavard, I mean, I'd just be a bit wary about him because... I mean, for one, he's 1 yellow card away from suspension, and two, there's also the fact that Koundé could take his place once again. Yeah, the lineups are out. Thank you for that. Sarabia is guaranteed to start. Not guaranteed, but I think he will. Why no Insigne? Because I prefer Mobley up front, and I do have Berardi. I think he's a better long-term option, and I like Italy's double defence, so that's why I don't have him. And also for Insigne's price, you can spend it elsewhere, like Forsberg, Perisic, Yarmolenko, Sarabia, Wijnaldum, De Bruyne. There's a lot of options, so I just don't really see a big need to get Insigne, who, to be honest, if you remember, he scored a goal in this tournament, but it came just before he got substituted off, and he's been a bit too wide throughout the tournament. Once again, he can create a lot of chances. He's on set pieces. He's a fantastic player. He can get points, but maybe there is better value elsewhere. Locatelli or Berardi? Berardi for me. Pavard, I prefer Kimpembe. Yeah, once again, Farhan, I answered your question. No need to repeat it. Why no doubling on France-Italy defence besides your goalkeeper? Well, there's no need to double up on Italy defence when I already have Donnarumma in goal. And also, I think Austria are probably there to target also from an attacking perspective. And another thing to consider is that if Italy do go through, they face Belgium or Portugal, and I don't want to have triple Italy defence or two defenders against them. So that's my kind of reasoning behind it. Oh, and by the way, another thing for all of you is in terms of goalkeeper pairs, make sure, don't just think about, do they play on the same day in Matchday 4, but also think about if these keepers go through, will they be playing on the same day in Matchday 5, Matchday 6? Just think about that because it's really important too. So what I would recommend is, for example, Donnarumma and Stecklenburg, I think they're going to be playing on different days throughout the tournament until potentially the final. So that's something worth considering. Should I keep Sterling or bring in Forsberg? I prefer Forsberg personally, but Sterling, he's been England's best kind of attacker. Well, in terms of, the goals anyway. But yeah, I'd go for Forsberg. Why Stones are not Gosens? I prefer England's defence. Simple as that, to be honest. Will Sarabia being the starting lineup? I think so, Arshin, but I couldn't tell you for sure. Luis Enrique does like to rotate. I have 6.1 million left for a defender. Already have Spinazzola, Dumfries, Pavard, Di Lorenzo. Who should I get? Very good question. To be honest, I'd probably go for Jordi Alba. If not, maybe John Stones or Kimpembe. But you do have Pavard already, to be fair. And I already kind of made my feelings clear about him. I think he could be a rotation risk. And he's 1 yellow card away from suspension. Yeah, Farhan, I don't know why you're repeating the question. I already answered it. Insigne or Havertz? I prefer Havertz for this week, to be honest. Or at least, I just think Havertz is kind of more of a talisman figure for Germany in this tournament. 5.3 million or under defender? Good question once again. I'd probably say Mailer. He's the standout. And then maybe a Swedish defender. And if you back Pau Torres to start, he's another one. Immobile or Lukaku? Immobile for this week. Lukaku overall. Yeah, Farhan, I don't know why you keep asking the same question. I already answered it. Apologies, football highlights. I didn't mean to delete your message. But you said Kimpembe or Pavard. I said Kimpembe. But yeah, let me just... yeah. Alright, should I change Mbappe? Any options? I already got Depay and Ronaldo. I personally would probably go for Benzema because of the extra millions you save, and also he's on penalties. You already got Depay and Ronaldo. I mean, Immobile for this week is fantastic, I believe. Once again, KO, I believe Perisic is better than Modric, so please don't repeat the question. Sarabia or Højbjerg? Sarabia. Forsberg or Kulusevski? Forsberg for me. Sweden versus Ukraine. Do you think Sweden going to have a clean sheet? Who's going to win? I think Sweden are going to go through, but I'm not exactly sure if Sweden are going to keep a clean sheet. I didn't like how they played in the last match day. Of course, it's largely due to nerves. They nearly bottled the game against Poland, but I think they are able to keep a clean sheet. But I could see Yaremchuk, Malyanovsky or Yarmolenko nicking a goal. Gosens and Pavard instead of Kimpembe and Stones? I prefer Kimpembe and Stones, to be honest. Is Ronaldo, Benzema and Depay a good front three? Of course it is, no doubt about it. Ronaldo, of course, is fixture-proof. I agree that most of our teams are the same as the tournament proceeds. Yeah, I think so, unfortunately. Perisic, Jota, Insigne? I would go for Insigne from those three. Berardi or Damsgaard? I'd go for Berardi. Forsberg or Kulusevski. Forsberg. One Croatian player you recommend for the Spain fixture? Probably Perisic. I think if anyone does something, it'll be him. Is Pau Torres worth it? If he starts, I don't know if he will. Personally, it should be him and Laporte, but I just don't know. It could be Eric Garcia easily. Kimpembe or Pavard? Kimpembe. Any fullback from England? Luke Shaw probably, but I'm not that sure about him starting. You reckon I take an English or German? I mean, it depends on who you think is going to go through, but personally, I would just go for an England defender because I just trust the defence more. I don't trust any of the attacking assets, really. I don't know who could score. It could be anyone from that game. Bale and Immobile or KDB and Muller? Isaac. Tough one. A very good question. I'd probably go for Bale and Immobile. Sarabia or Højbjerg? Sarabia. Kimpembe plus Varane. It could be very good, especially if you have a wild card. If Digne and Hernandez are both injured, then who's going to play on that left-hand side for France? They could maybe play, for example, De Boy, who's a right-back in left-back, but I'm not so sure. Or they could maybe play one of their wingers or central midfielders as a left-back. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure about that. Immobile or Ronaldo? I'd go for Immobile this week. Ronaldo overall. Who is starting right-back for Italy? I think it'll be Di Lorenzo, but Toloi has a chance too, doesn't he? Benzema or Immobile? I prefer Immobile this week. Damsgaard or Højbjerg? Damsgaard. Thomas Meunier, he's a good option, but I'm not sure about a clean sheet this week. Ronaldo or Immobile? Immobile for me. With Ronaldo limiting my midfield options, if I have him in, yeah, I'd go for Immobile if he's limiting your options, just like it did for me. Danielson or Pau Torres? I'd go for Danielson. I think Pau Torres might not start. Once again, yeah, I already answered your question on Thomas Meunier. Is Pau Torres worth it or no? Well, once again, if he starts, I think he's definitely worth it, but there's just that question mark if he does. So, yeah, I'm not sure about that. Berardi or Locatelli? Berardi. Immobile or Ronaldo? Immobile for this week. Should I get Laporte? I'd probably just go for Jordi Alba for the same price. More attacking upside. Sarabia or Insigne? I'd go for Sarabia. What changes would you make in your team if you still had the wildcard chip? To be honest, I'd maybe make one or two more risks in terms of French assets. I'd probably have triple or quadruple France. Other than that, it'd largely be the same, I think. But yeah, maybe instead of Immobile, for example, I could go for Mbappe. And looking at the rest, yeah, I might have another French defender. For example, instead of Stones, I could have Varane or one of those players. But the rest would probably be the same. I'd have to downgrade somewhere else to facilitate those moves. Yeah, apologies, but anyone who does spam the chat will be put on timeout because, I do answer the question eventually. If I haven't answered a question from a long time ago, then just put the question forward again once, but no need to repeat the question. CR7 or Immobile? Ask Soccer for FIFA. I'd go for Immobile this week. Locatelli benched. Oh yeah, apparently Verratti's going to take his spot, isn't he? Yeah, that is a possibility. Morata? I'd just go for Moreno or Sarabia personally. Should I get Laporte? Once again, I'd go for Jordi Alba. Don't repeat the question, please. Ronaldo or Immobile? Immobile. Wijnaldum or Sarabia? I'd go for Wijnaldum. Gossens or Maguire? I'd probably go for Maguire. Danielson or Pau Torres? I'd probably just go for Danielson because he's more nailed. Why Kimpembe over Pavard? Pavard's one yellow card away from suspension and Koundé could play in his position. Are you going to change something? Most likely not, mate. What changes would you make? Yeah, I already answered that question. Rajani, don't ask it again, please. Alba, Maguire or Gossens? Jordi Alba for me, out of those three. Guys, what do you think? Immobile going to play? Yeah, Immobile should play. Dolberg can score. He can score, but I wouldn't be going for him personally. How about Pogba? I just think he's too defensive, or at least he plays too deep. He could have a fantastic game. He could influence and dominate the midfield, but he might not get any assists or goals. Sterling versus Havertz. I'd probably, for this fixture, I'd go for Havertz, but overall, I think Sterling. But yeah, it's a tough one. Bale and Immobile or KDB and Muller? Once again, Bale and Immobile. Is Thomas Meunier worth it? Once again, Digor, I think he is worth it. He's a good asset, but the reason why I don't have him is because he's facing Portugal, and if they go through, they face Italy, and I'm not that confident in Belgium defence. Is Sarabia starting for Spain? He should be starting. He's not completely nailed, but he should start after his performance. Is Striga Larsen now an option? I just wouldn't go for him personally. I'd just go for Mailer. What about Pavard? Once again, 1 yellow card away from suspension, and Koundé could be in his position once again. Do you think Shaw will start? I believe he will, but once again, England, I think, rotate too much with their defenders. Any 4.5, 4.6 defenders other than Pau Torres and Mela? To be honest, not that I like, unless I'm forgetting someone, but yeah, not that I like. If anyone knows in the comment section, then let me know, and let him know, of course, so he has a better idea. Who takes penalties for Belgium? Don't want to get this wrong. I'm pretty sure it is Lukaku, but yeah, I mean, De Bruyne is also a good penalty taker. It'd be between them two, but I think Lukaku. Benzema or Griezmann? I heard that Griezmann's going to be on pens. Oh yeah, Griezmann is the penalty taker, but he gave the penalty to Benzema, didn't he, apparently? Yeah, that is a good point. But the thing with Griezmann is he's been too defensive in this tournament. He's been tracking back a lot, making slide tackles. He's been very important for France, but he's not in the positions we want him to. Whilst Benzema is on the bulk and on the receiving end of all the chances, and he's $1 million cheaper than Griezmann. I need a midfielder budget. It's 9.7 million. I think Sterling could be a good option. Kai Havertz, De Bruyne, Berardi, Sarabia, Wijnaldum, Forsberg, Yarmolenko, Perisic. They're all good options. Kulusevski as well. Kulusevski or Forsberg? I'd go for Forsberg. Apparently Benzema's not on pens. Does that change anything? In terms of my team, probably not, because there's a lot of other reasons why I have Benzema. And ideally, if I'm honest, I'd have Mbappe or Ronaldo for this game instead of Benzema, but I have to stress I need to downgrade elsewhere, and I don't want to get rid of De Bruyne and all of these other assets that I have, so I'm probably keeping things as they are. And yeah, the deadline is less than 40 minutes away, so it's still a way to go. Remember to lock in your teams. Try to do it early, because last time the site crashed and it could be a pain to even sort out your teams and everything, especially if you're leaving your transfers very late. Sarabia or Perisic? I'd probably go for Sarabia. Lukaku or Immobile? I'd go for Immobile this week. Is Varane a good choice this week? I think he is, Rafael. Benzema or Griezmann? I'd go for Benzema. Kimpembe or Varane? Kimpembe. Gosens and Højbjerg or Kimpembe and Damsgaard? I'd go for Kimpembe and Damsgaard. Insigne or Berardi? Berardi. Is it true Benzema's off penalties? Well, apparently that's what everyone's saying, and Griezmann is normally the penalty taker. Gosens worth it? He's worth it. He's a good option. He's probably from Germany, the best choice, along with Havertz, but I wouldn't go for him myself. Great team. You have almost the same lineup. Yeah, all the best, mate. Yeah, you too, Jeffrey. Obviously, if we both do well, if I do well or you do well, it will be the same case the other way around. Unfortunately, a lot of teams are going to be similar. That's what I don't like about this team, but it is what it is, Who will be France's defence? I think, well, depending on who's fit on the left-hand side, it could be Dini or Hernandez, but yeah, they both have injury problems. It will be Kimpembe and Varane, and probably Pavard, but there's a chance of Koundé taking that right-back spot. Kulusevski a good shout? Or Kulevski? I mean, let me check the fucking name. Apologies for that, for any kids watching. Yeah, it's Kulusevski. Okay, let's not even put on Google Translate, but yeah, Kulusevski. Yeah, he is a good shout, of course, but I prefer Forsberg. Yeah, Forsberg is my option there. Insigne or Berardi. Any Germany players? Not for me. Not right now, anyway. Ronaldo or Lukaku? I'd say Lukaku, but if you already have Kevin De Bruyne, go for Ronaldo. Last time you got screwed. Thank you for that, Kenny. But yeah, Matchday 3 and 2 were poor, to be honest, very poor. Immobile versus Mbappe versus Benzema. For this week, if you have the money, I'd say Mbappe, but ultimately, I'm thinking about value and what you could do with the money elsewhere. I'd say Immobile is the best from those three this week. Pablo Sarabia or Ferran Torres to start? I'd go for Sarabia. Couch says, I don't like your Benzema pick. Yaremchuk a better option, or go Mbappe and downgrade Stones if you can. Yeah, maybe you have a point, and I don't like Benzema that much in particular. Like I said, if I had enough money, I'd be going for Mbappe or Ronaldo this week instead of Benzema, but yeah, Stones to even a 4 million defender wouldn't be enough to facilitate that. I'd have to downgrade De Bruyne most likely, and I do want him. I think if Belgium do go through, I want De Bruyne for the rest of the tournament, so long as Belgium are still in there. We appreciate you doing this, but get your team locked and loaded, please. Thank you, Kenny, but yeah, my team is pretty much locked in, I think. I've already kind of settled on it. Like I said, ideally, I'd have Ronaldo for Benzema, or maybe Mbappe, but that would require other changes. Let me show you, for example. And by the way, in terms of the match Match predictor. I've gone for 2-1 Denmark, but I'm not so sure. And who did I put as first goal scorer? Poulsen, didn't I? Yeah, and he's not starting, so might change that to Damsgaard, Braithwaite, or someone else. I could be completely wrong here. It could be Dolberg. Yeah, last time I had it on Damsgaard as first scorer, and I changed it for no reason, and he ended up scoring first. I think, anyway. Dolberg or Damsgaard? I think that's what I'm looking at. Or Braithwaite, the Lord Braithwaite. I'd probably go for Damsgaard, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that one. But yeah, as for, let's look, for example. So this is my budget. I think, yeah, 0.3 million remaining I would have. So let's say I go for Ronaldo. I'd have 1.9 million. Well, I'd be 1.9 million short. So yeah, it'd most likely require multiple downgrades, or if not, one big downgrade from De Bruyne to an 8.7 million midfielder. Maybe Yarmolenko, for example, or Perisic, or someone cheaper even. But I'm just... Nah, not for me. I just like this overall squad, the way it is, and attacking this game week. I think Benzema could be very good. So that's why I've got things as they are at the moment. Let's see. Apologies, there's so many comments. I'm trying to get through all of them, but yeah. If I haven't answered your question, just repeat it one more time, but do not spam the chat with the same question over and over, especially if I've already answered it. Otherwise, you will be put on timeout. Højbjerg and Pavard, or Damsgaard and Kimpembe. Damsgaard and Kimpembe. Mbappe and Maguire, or Benzema and Stones. I'd go for Benzema and Stones. Ronaldo or Lukaku. Well, actually, to be honest... Nah, there's not much difference. I just go for Mbappe and Maguire. My bad, but they're both good. Ronaldo, Lukaku. I'd go for Lukaku, but if you have De Bruyne, go Ronaldo. Dropping Ronaldo's a good bet this game week. I don't want to say it's a good bet or not. We'll wait and see, but there is a good argument for getting rid of him. Free viewers watching, really appreciate it. Does Azpilicueta start? I think he actually might again, you know. They looked a bit better, I think. But to be fair, they were facing Slovakia, who are just poor, and they still had one or two chances to score. What about Di Lorenzo? I think he will start, Babu, but I'm not entirely sure if he will. It could be Toloi. Mailer or Roberts? Mailer for me. Havertz or Forsberg? Forsberg. Gossens, Pickford and oh my god, Di Lorenzo or Donnarumma, Stones and Kimpembe. The first one is more of a differential. Yeah, that's a good point. It is a differential, but I don't want to be boring. I prefer the second set of players. De Bruyne, Bale or Sterling? De Bruyne for me. I have two Italy midfielders, one keeper, one forward. Should I change? To be honest, there's no real need to change. Personally, I would go for double Italy defence. So maybe a goalkeeper and a defender, or maybe two defenders like Di Lorenzo and Spinazzola if you back Di Lorenzo to start. But that's what I think. Insigne, Gossens and Olsen, or Forsberg, Alba and Donnarumma? I'd go for the second set, AMR. Forsberg, Alba and Donnarumma. Immobile or Spinazzola captain? I'd probably go for Immobile, but Spinazzola is a fantastic choice too. Mailer or Roberts? Mailer, mate. Please don't answer the same question again. Digne hasn't travelled with the squad, although Hernandez has. Yeah, Hernandez will be playing then, most likely. Thank you for that, Kumar. Really appreciate it. Sarabia and Immobile or Morata and Insigne? Sarabia and Immobile for me, no doubt about it. I'm a Portugal supporter, so don't want KDB to score, hence not buying him. Fair enough, but personally, it's about what you think will happen, not what you want to happen. And also, just think of it this way: if you support Portugal, you get De Bruyne and he blanks, you jinx him. So you know, you win either way. That's the way I see it, but maybe I'm being dumb. Captain for the 27th, Depay, mate, no doubt about it. Let's go through the captaincy choices once again. So, you know, kind of excluding my team from it. From the 26th, I think Immobile and Spinazzola are the best options, personally. And then from the 27th, it's Depay. I think Depay is the standout. And then maybe Dumfries. And then on the 28th, I think Mbappe is probably the best one. If not, maybe Benzema. And then on the 29th, yeah, I'd probably say Yarmolenko, Forsberg, and maybe one of the German or English assets. And I have a feeling about Kane. I think he could come good in this game. I don't know why. I just don't like Germany's defence, and I could see Kane maybe getting an assist or two and maybe a goal. But yeah, maybe I'm just being a bit dumb. Is Benzema off penalties? If yes, then who to replace with? Well, I personally wouldn't just get a player in because they're on penalties or not. That should just be one factor. But apparently, according to most of the chat, he is off penalties. It's Griezmann who's the main penalty taker. But yeah, in terms of who to replace Benzema with, if you have enough money, then go for Lukaku, Immobile, Depay, etc. And if you can stretch even more, then that's great. Go for Mbappe or Ronaldo. But I wouldn't be going, to the lower price strikers. Larry Bird says, might downgrade from Ronaldo to Immobile, then currently got Damsgaard and Berardi. Any options for 2 million more, or do you recommend me swapping Benzema for Mbappe instead? Great question. Yeah, instead of Damsgaard, you could get Forsberg, I think, Larry. Hopefully you got that. I know you obviously asked this question a few minutes ago, so I apologise for that. Immobile or Spinazzola captain? Immobile for me, but there's not much in it. They're both great. Captaincy pick, Insigne or Berardi? I'd go for... maybe Insigne, but I just prefer Berardi. I don't know. It's a weird one. Maybe I'm just saying that because of price, so price bias. Ronaldo and Pogba or Benzema and De Bruyne? Benzema and De Bruyne, no doubt about it. Jose Manuel... Well, great name that is, Pantoja. 5 million defenders. 5 million and below. I'd say Mela, Di Lorenzo, who's technically 5.1 million. Maybe one of the Swedish defenders like Danielsson or Augustinsson. But yeah, I'd be looking at those sorts of players. Pau Torres. Can I try Spinazzola as a captain? Of course you can. I mean, that's the good thing about this game, where you can change your captaincy upon each day. It gives you the chance to take more punts on the captaincy, and that could be what differentiates you from the crowd. So yeah, I would do that. And actually, what I'm going to be doing now is checking the ownership. So Spinazzola's 27, Immobile's 26. Damn it. And I don't know, I think Immobile would be more heavily captained, so maybe Spinazzola captaincy is a differential in itself. But yeah. Who should I captain? Immobile, Berardi, Spinazzola, Damsgaard or Mela? For me, it's between Immobile and Spinazzola, and it's up to you what you think is going to happen there. Personally, maybe Immobile, but I'm not sure about that. It could be Spinazzola. Benzema, Lukaku. Once again, Benzema this week, Lukaku overall. Garcia or Pau Torres? I think Pau Torres, but I can't say that with conviction. I'm not sure. Captaincy pick, Damsgaard or Berardi? I'd probably go for Damsgaard, Ronaldo or Immobile? I'd go for Immobile this week. Why is everyone playing Kimpembe instead of Pavard? Well, once again, I don't want to repeat myself, but, new people are coming into the chat. The thing with Pavard is he's one yellow card away from suspension, and Koundé could take his spot at right back. With Kimpembe, he's nailed. He's the cheapest way into France's defence, and there's not a huge difference in terms of points potential. They're both probably going to be getting 6 points maximum. But yeah, Pavard's maybe a bit more likely to get a goal or an assist. Is Dolberg a good pick for today? I think he's a good pick, but I don't think he's a great pick. That's why I personally am sticking with the kind of premium forwards in this kind of game. Denier to start for Belgium? I think so, but once again, just like with Pau Torres and Di Lorenzo and other players that I've mentioned, I can't tell you for sure. Kulusevski and Sterling or Berardi and De Bruyne? Already have 3 Italy players. I'd probably go for Berardi and De Bruyne. Insigne, Perisic or Modric? I'd probably say... I'd probably say Perisic, but in terms of the fixture, Insigne might have the highest ceiling this week. But I just prefer Perisic as an overall asset, if you know what I mean. But yeah, matchday 4, just go Insigne. Ronaldo or Immobile this week. Forsberg or Perisic? Forsberg. Stones or Gossens? Stones for me. Hi Dylan. Kimmich or Sarabia? Welcome Hilal. I'd go for Sarabia. If you wanted Mbappe and Maguire, you could downgrade Forsberg if you really want to keep KDB. I could do maybe Forsberg to Damsgaard, but I don't want to do that. Spinazzola captaincy try. Is it worth or not? Once again, I answered your question already. I think it's worth a try. What Italy player should I captain? I'd say Immobile or Spinazzola if you have them. Grealish or Sarabia? I'd go for Sarabia. Pavard or Kimpembe? Kimpembe. Why captain Spinazzola and not Immobile? Well, I went with Immobile, mate. I didn't go for Spinazzola. But what might be a good thing is that Italy already, I wouldn't say already have it secured, but they're very likely to get a clean sheet. So that's 6 points already. And anything else that Spinazzola does is a bonus. And also, I think he's going to be more of a differential captain despite being 1% more owned than Immobile. So just bear that in mind. It's up to you. There's no right or wrong. Dylan, how about switching Forsberg out for Højbjerg and getting Ronaldo in? Well, funnily enough, that's what I did have before. Something like that. I think instead of Sarabia, I had Højbjerg. Instead of Stones, I had Pau Torres, and Benzema turned into Ronaldo. But to be honest, I think Benzema, on paper anyway, has a higher points potential than Ronaldo. Than Ronaldo. What do you think of Immobile, Lukaku, Depay, Wijnaldum, Pogba, Berardi, Damsgaard, Spinazzola, Mela, Dumfries, Donnarumma, Stecklenburg, Pavard, Alba, Forsberg? I like that team a lot. I don't like Pogba though, if I'm being honest. And who else? The rest I like a lot actually. It's just Pogba that I don't like. Christensen, I just go for Mela. I think the attacking potential is just too good. Mbappe and Simon or Benzema and Lloris? I'd go for Mbappe and Simon. Pau Torres or Kimpembe? Probably Kimpembe. How can we have the same team price-wise, but I'm 0.1 million over and you're 0.3 million under? It's because of price changes. So you have players probably that... yeah, you have more players who went up in price than I did in match days 2 and 3. Benzema, Lukaku, once again, Benzema this week, Lukaku overall. Insigne, good option, but not for me. I'm not going for him. Are Stecklenburg and Olsen safe to have for the rest of the tournament like you have? Stecklenburg and Donnarumma in terms of playing on different days. I don't know if you've answered the question. I'm not sure about... I'd always check the fixtures. So, why did I have to say it like this? Match 4. Jesus. So what game is Sweden? Oh, they're technically one of the last matches, aren't they? So, yeah. Match 7 or 8. Yeah. They should be playing on different days. Yeah, they are. They are safe. But the thing is, do you think Sweden are going to go through to the semi-finals? I'm just not so sure. So what I would personally do is just go for Donnarumma and Stecklenburg. But obviously, I appreciate you don't have the money potentially. You want to spend it elsewhere, and that makes perfect sense. But yeah, it's a good partnership, no doubt about it. But yeah, it should be safe, yeah. Sarabia or Kimmich? Sarabia, mate. Benzema, Lukaku? Benzema. Højbjerg versus Damsgaard. Why would Benzema be off pens when he scored 2 last game and manager said it's up to Griezmann who takes them, so not guaranteed? Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, we'll just wait and see. To be honest, it's just a lot of kind of rumours going about, but it might be a reliable source who said it. Torres or Danielson? I'd go for Danielson because of him being nailed. What about Pogba? Not for me, mate. I just don't like him as an asset. What about Perisic? The best Croatian asset to have, but I just don't know if Croatia will score against Spain. How about both Perisic and Sarabia? Either of them may score. True, but either of them may not score. But I just prefer Sarabia from that game, and I prefer Spain. But Perisic, he done very well for me in matchday 3. He's the best option from Croatia, but I'm personally not going for him because that would mean getting rid of Wijnaldum, De Bruyne, or Forsberg, and I don't want to do that, to be honest. I got the same team as yours. I'm missing 0.1 million. It's because of price rises, mate, in terms of how many you've had. Højbjerg or Damsgaard? Damsgaard. To everyone, Damsgaard is better than Højbjerg. Damsgaard's better than Højbjerg. I'll say it one more time. Damsgaard is better than Højbjerg. Ronaldo or Immobile, then Højbjerg for Pablo. I just prefer Immobile and Pablo Sarabia as a duo than Ronaldo and Højbjerg. Kimpembe, Alba or Varane Stones? Very good question. I'd probably go for Kimpembe, Alba. If I had enough money, I'd probably be going for Jordi Alba instead of Stones because of the attacking potential. Seeing now that our teams are exact same bar a goalie and Stones, even though I have Wildcard, trying to shoehorn Alba in somehow by getting 2 cheaper keepers or just 1 starter with 4 million, but may default to Stones and Stecklenburg. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And once again, a lot of our teams are going to be identical, to be honest. Jota plus Immobile or Ronaldo? To be honest, yeah, but maybe Jota and Immobile. Damsgaard is better than Højbjerg. Hopefully everyone gets that. Damsgaard is better than Højbjerg. Phillips or Højbjerg? I'd go for Højbjerg there. Sarabia, Perisic or Forsberg? What about Bonucci? Nah, for me, Spinazzola, for around the same price, offers more attacking potential, and Donnarumma is a set-and-forget keeper, so I just go for them. De Bruyne or Insigne? De Bruyne, no doubt. Thoughts on this forward midfield lineup? Ronaldo, Depay, Benzema, Berardi, KDB, Forsberg, Wijnaldum, Damsgaard. Very impressive. I like it a lot. And yeah, to be honest, there's no real weakness there. I like the picks, especially Damsgaard, which could be a bit different. Danielson or Pau Torres? Please don't ask the same question again. But Danielson, but just don't ask the same question. 2 Italy defenders. Well, I already got a keeper and a defender, so that's my duo covered. And remember, if they go through, they're facing Belgium or Portugal in the quarterfinals, and then potentially France in the semis. So it's not worth having triple Italy defence, for example, or having 2 out-and-out defenders. Højbjerg or Damsgaard? Damsgaard, please. Damsgaard. Come on, man. I've been answering this question all day long. Ronaldo or Lukaku? Lukaku this week. To be honest, I just prefer Lukaku. Yeah, let's put it that way. But if you have De Bruyne already, you could just go for Ronaldo. Hey, mate, Ronaldo and Højbjerg or Immobile and Forsberg? I'd go for Immobile and Forsberg. Benzema and Insigne out for Immobile and KDB. Is it okay to go without France attack? It is okay. Of course it is. But you know what? Yeah, they're both good duos, and I get why you did it. So it's a better duo, in my opinion, the one you're going for. Kimmich and Pau Torres or Kimpembe and Phillips? Kimmich and Pau Torres, probably. Should I use Wijnaldum over Sarabia Insigne? Yes, I think so. Kimpembe Alba or Varane Stones or Gossens? Kimpembe Alba, mate. Damsgaard, please, Sajan. Damsgaard is better than Højbjerg. I have answered the question so many times today. Will Sarabia start? I think he will, mate. Is Shaw nailed? Not completely 100% nailed, but I think he will start, the Flying Dutchman. Thank you for joining the stream once again. Italian penalty takers, I think it's between Jorginho and Immobile. So shout out to the person who mentioned Jorginho earlier. Gerard Moreno, yeah, I think him or Sarabia, having one of them as a budget enabler, Spanish option, I think that's fantastic. So yeah, I prefer Sarabia because of the points potential, but Moreno's a good option. Bale as a differential, yeah, especially if you have a wild card available, why not take a few punts? Not sure if this was asked before. Immobile or Depay? Well, it's a new question actually, so thank you for that, Sino or Hilal. I personally prefer Depay because even if Immobile might outscore Depay this week, I think Depay has an even better fixture in the quarterfinals if Netherlands do go through. So I just think it makes more sense. Depay is a better long-term option, and they're more likely to reach the semi-finals than Italy because of Italy's potential fixtures. Very good question. Best defenders 5.8 and under. Already got Spinazzola, Kimpembe, Dumfries, Mailer. Probably John Stones. Trying to think of someone else. Probably a Swedish defender like Danielsson. Yeah, this is where it gets a bit more difficult. If you had a bit more, I'd have said Jordi Alba, but of course you don't have enough. You could go for Azpilicueta, I guess, but it's just worth going for Pau Torres potentially if you back him to start. Maybe Di Lorenzo if you think he's going to start as well. Who's on penalties for Denmark? I think Højbjerg was on the last one and he missed, so I'm not sure if he's going to remain on them. What about 2 Italy defenders? Yeah, I answered this question already, mate. Already answered your question, Moreno. Please don't ask it again. Should I captain Mailer or Højbjerg? I'd go for Mailer. Spain defence or France defence? I'd probably go for France defence. Gossens or Danielsson? I'd go for Danielsson. Alba or Kimpembe? I'd go for Alba. Will Hernandez play? I think he will. He travelled with the squad according to Kumar, I think, who reported obviously in the chat what the reports are saying. And Digne hasn't travelled with the squad, so it should be Hernandez playing. I'm stuck in between De Bruyne and Insigne. For me, it's a no-brainer, De Bruyne. Can you pick 2 out of Forsberg, Damsgaard and Sarabia? I can, and I'll be going for Forsberg and Sarabia. Alba or Stones? I'd go for Alba. Ronaldo and Højbjerg or Immobile and Forsberg? I'd go for the second pair. I already answered this question, by the way. Immobile and Forsberg. I have 4 Ukrainian players. Yeah, Art Edit, you are Ukrainian, aren't you? I remember that. I wouldn't go that far. I think 3 is enough, to be honest. Even 2 or 1. But, yeah, I wonder who your 4th one is. Is it Sinchenko? I can understand Malyanovsky to a certain extent, and definitely Yarmolenko and Yaremchuk. I think they're great options, but I wouldn't go for Sinchenko or anyone else. What team will you make if you had a wild card? I just take a few more risks, probably like France, for example. I might have gone for one of their strikers, other strikers like Mbappe, and I probably would have gone for double French defence, something like that, or maybe done more double or triple ups that were a bit unorthodox, or potentially maybe instead of De Bruyne, a Gareth Bale, for example. Insigne and Benzema. Oh, Jesus Christ. Insigne and Benzema out for Immobile and Pogba, or any other France attack you can suggest. I would have just gone for the one you went with before. Not Pogba. I'm stuck in between De Bruyne or Insigne. De Bruyne once again. Augustinsson or Stones or Kimmich. Probably Augustinsson for this game week, but overall Stones is the best. Alba or Varane. Probably Alba. Once again, Dravidan. I answered your question so many times. Donnarumma and Spinazzola for me is the best defensive duo you can get from Italy. But if you want 2 Italy defenders, Spinazzola and Di Lorenzo, but there's also the kind of caveat of him starting or not. So don't ask the same question again, otherwise you'll be put on timeout. I answered your question already. Don't ask it again, otherwise you're on timeout. Thanks, Dylan. Why Stones in defence? Germany will score 1 at least. What are we expecting out of? To be honest, it's kind of a long-term pick, because if England do go through, I think I already have Stones covered. I like their run to the semi-final and final potentially, and I just like England's defence. They're very solid. They haven't conceded many big chances. I think they've conceded 1 big chance across the whole tournament, and I think it was against Scotland. Damsgaard or Sarabia? Sarabia. Force on Alaba, not for me. I wouldn't go for him. Is Striger good? I just go for Mailer. I'm stuck in between De Bruyne. Once again, Mashari, I answered your question. I said De Bruyne. Sarabia or Insigne? Sarabia. KDB or Sarabia? KDB. Penaldo or Messi? Messi is better, yeah. Sarabia not going to start, sorry. I mean, if you're Luis Enrique or you're related to him, then fair enough. Tell us. But yeah, I think he's going to start. Should I replace Benzema and Alba, and for who? 16.9 million budget. If so, I just keep them, to be honest. That's a good duo. KDB or Sarabia? KDB. How do you know who will play in the quarters? Well, we don't know who's going to play in the quarters, to be honest. I'm just talking about, what I think is going to happen. And that's what you should be doing with your team, Just aim for who you think is going to happen or what you think is going to happen and then base your decisions off that. Is Meunier a good choice? He is a good choice. But I think this game week there are better options considering the fixtures. What do you think of Ronaldo, Immobile, Wijnaldum, Insigne, Berardi, Havertz, Anholt, Mæhle, Dumfries, Gossens, Llorente, Depay, Vaclik? I'd probably be looking to replace Vaclik, Van Aanholt and Llorente, but the rest seems fine. Best 8.5, 8.7 million midfielder. I do already have 3 Italians, Donnarumma, Spinazzola, Berardi, so I don't know about Insigne. I wouldn't go for Insigne personally. I'd go for Forsberg if you don't have him already, but Wijnaldum, definitely go for him. But yeah, 8.5 to 8.7, I'd probably Yarmolenko, to be honest. I like Perisic a lot, but I'm not sure if he's going to score against Spain. Berardi or Spinazzola captain, I'd go for Spinazzola, Jay. What's your overall rank? What's at the top of your screen, mate? Overall rank, it says it there, 87,000. Unfortunately, I'm having a very bad season. My Limitless and Wildcard backfired immensely, and a lot of 50-50 decisions have gone against me, really. I've gotten a lot of them wrong. Force on Donnarumma, Stecklenburg, Pau Torres, Mæhle, Spinazzola, Dumfries, Kimpembe, Berardi, Sarabia, Wijnaldum, Bale, Forsberg, Ronaldo, Benzema, Mobley, says Kumar. I like it a lot, and the Bale pick could be very good. I'm not sure about Pau Torres starting, but you know what? It could be worth the risk. Eric Garcia versus Pau Torres. I think Pau Torres, but I might be wrong about that. KDB or Sarabia? KDB. Pau Torres and Olsen or Danielson and Stecklenburg. I'd go for Danielson and Stecklenburg. It's my team. This is what Raffle says. Donnarumma, Stecklenburg, Spinazzola, Mæhle, Varane, Gossens, Dumfries, KDB, Wijnaldum, Damsgaard, Forsberg, Berardi, Immobile, Depay, Benzema. Looks very solid. There's no weaknesses in my opinion. That's a solid squad. I'm stuck in between. Mashari, I answered your question about De Bruyne or Insigne. I mean, I don't even know why I'm even bothering. I answered your question 4 or 5 times at least. De Bruyne is definitely better. Simon or Olsen? Simon for me. Although Olsen could outscore him this week, but I just prefer Simon long term, potentially. Will Saka start for England? Not so sure about that, to be honest. I think it'll be Kane, Foden and Sterling as the front three. Insigne, Spinazzola, Lindelof or Stones or Maguire? I'd just go for an England defender, probably Stones or Maguire. If you're talking about Augustinsson or Danielson, then maybe you could just go for them this match day. Bentner or Braithwaite? Bentner, mate. What do you think of Hazard or Diego Jota or Bernardo Silva as a differential pick? I'd probably go for maybe Jota. I think that game might favour him the most, but I'm not so sure about the other two. Sarabia to Damsgaard and Kimpembe to Alba looks very good to me, but I do prefer Sarabia to Damsgaard if I'm being honest, but they're both good duos. Pavard, Varane or Alba? I'd probably just go for Alba. Alba or Stones? I go for Alba. Damsgaard or Højbjerg? Damsgaard. Berardi or Spinazzola captain? Spinazzola. Dumfries or Kimpembe? Dumfries. Damsgaard or Sarabia? Sarabia. Hernandez or Varane? Hernandez or Varane? Yeah, I'll just go for Varane, to be honest. Berardi or Spinazzola captain? Spinazzola. No problem, Roger. Thank you for joining in. Really appreciate it, mate. Hernandez got a slight injury. He does, but either way, I wouldn't be going for the left-backs, by the way, or full-backs from France. But Digne's apparently not travelled with the squad. I haven't checked. I haven't been able to check the kind of Twitter news, but that's just something worth considering, I think. Yeah, if the question is already asked, you can choose to ignore it instead of slandering them. All right, fair enough. I mean, I'm not slandering them. It's just, I'm trying to make sure that their question is answered and they've heard it. Because the point of this channel is to kind of just go through every single question. But, if you answer the question multiple times, then it gets a bit frustrating if, they haven't heard it and they repeat the same question again. But, I'm not slandering anyone. Just if it comes across that way, then apologies. Insigne or Spinazzola. Is it okay or crazy to go with one good keeper like Stecklenburg, Donnarumma, Olsen, Simon, etc. and a 4 million keeper if on a wild card so I can use funds elsewhere and have a better overall team, or have 2 cheap like Stecklenburg and Ward? Very good question, Marco. I would prefer having 2 cheap keepers in that case, but Ward, for example, he could get some save points, but I don't see a clean sheet. But Stecklenburg, for example, is a no-brainer, either as your first or second choice. But I'd I'd probably go for 2 cheap keepers in that case. Me and you got the same team, lol. I just got Pavard instead and Gossens because I think Germany will win. Fair enough, and you could be right there. Germany do tend to beat England. Sarabia starting 11? I think so, Rigson. Have you done an FPL draft? I have made an FPL draft. I haven't touched it since then. Quadruple up on Netherlands? I think so. That's why I've gone for it myself. Let me just... I don't think I'm going to be making any changes. So let's get out of the transfer screen. Yeah, I've got quadruple. I've got Stecklenburg, Dumfries, Wijnaldum and Depay. So I really like that quadruple. I probably wouldn't go for anyone else. There is Marlon, to be fair, who you could go for. Mbappe or Benzema? I prefer Mbappe, but Benzema offers better value for money, and you could use that extra 2 million elsewhere. But yeah, it's definitely a good question to be had. Pau Torres and Olsen or Danielson and Stecklenburg? I'd probably say the tough one. Danielson and Stecklenburg. Damsgaard or Højbjerg? Damsgaard. Forsberg or Insigne? Yeah, Forsberg. Di Lorenzo is a rotation risk for future games. I think exactly. That's a big part of why I haven't really considered him, because if Florenzi's back, he'll be the starter, no doubt. Sarabia to Damsgaard and Kimpembe to Alba. Yeah, I think they're both good duos, but ultimately, yeah, I prefer Sarabia over Damsgaard and maybe Jordi Alba over Kimpembe, but France have a better defence than Spain, so you could just keep Sarabia and Kimpembe. Why are you picking Benzema over Griezmann? Because Griezmann's playing a much more, defensive role. He's been tracking back a lot more. Benzema's getting the bulk of the chances, and I mean, I'm not sure, but he was on penalties in the last game. We'll see what happens in future games. Heard rumours about Gossens not starting as Germany will play a back four. Any replacement suggestions? Where did you see this back four? I'd be very interested to know. Appreciate it, even if it's false information or not. If you want to kind of make a replacement, I'd probably be looking at, well, let me try kind of sum up the best options. So apart from the ones you see on screen, who obviously I'll be backing, Jordi Alba, if you have enough money, I'd probably say Danielson or Augustinsson. You could always go for maybe a Belgium defender, for example, even Thomas Meunier, although I don't trust him too much. Di Lorenzo for this game or Toloi, depending on who you think is going to start. You could maybe double up on certain defences like France. But yeah, I'd probably be looking to get rid of him if you think that's going to be true. Why Sarabia over Moreno? I think his ceiling is higher. And also, in terms of the attackers, I want to save that spot. Basically, to kind of sum it up, if I had Moreno and I had a different team structure where one of my midfielders would be downgraded, in the next round when I'd want, for example, the likes of Ronaldo or Lukaku, depending on who goes through, it'd be much more difficult to upgrade Moreno to that striker that I want. So the team structure I have right now is the ideal one for me. So that's why I've gone for Sarabia. Hopefully I've answered your question, and if there's any kind of doubts, then just feel free to ask again. Any cheap midfielders? I'd be saying, for example, Damsgaard, Sarabia, even Højbjerg's a good option. I know obviously in FPL he's kind of never an option, but yeah. Locatelli or Berardi, and by the way, Locatelli could lose a spot to Verratti. Is Goretzka a differential? I think so, and to be honest, he can be a goal machine at times, but I wouldn't go for him personally. What about Varane? I think he's a good option, Sebi. Di Lorenzo and Simon or Mela and Donnarumma? I'd go for Mela and Donnarumma. Immobile or Lukaku? I'd go for Immobile this week, but Lukaku's a better option overall. A good 5 million midfielder, probably just Marcus Llorente, but I just don't like the options there, Sing. Forsberg or Insigne? Forsberg. You think Locatelli will start? I think the midfield three will be Verratti, Jorginho, and it could be Barella. I think Locatelli could actually make way, despite how good he's been. But if not, maybe Locatelli stays and Barella's the one making way. Same team, but got Gossens and Alba instead of Kimpembe and Stones. Is that fine? Yeah, definitely. I think maybe your duo will do better than mine. But yeah, a lot of people will have similar teams. Pogba replacement except Forsberg, Damsgaard, Ferran Torres for 9.8. I would reconsider Ferran Torres, by the way. But for 9.8, you could go for Sterling. Ultimately, what I would probably do is... it's a tough one, by the way. I'd probably go for someone like Sarabia instead of Ferran Torres, and I'd go for Wijnaldum. I'd definitely go for Wijnaldum. FPL Swedes Twitter. Okay, thank you, Bakul. Fair enough. I'll be checking that soon. I probably won't have enough time to do that, but yeah, really appreciate it. What do you think of Spain's Dani Olmo as a differential pick? Sorry if already asked. Personally, from Spain, I'd just be going for Moreno and Sarabia. Sorry, my brain's freezing there. I just don't really like Olmo. He's kind of burned me in the past in Champions League fantasy. He could be a good option, but I just don't think, even if he does really well this week, I don't see him continuing that going forward. And yeah, no worries. I didn't see your question before, so my apologies for that. Damsgaard or Sarabia? I'd go for Sarabia. Is it too risky to have 4 from Italy and 4 from Netherlands? It is risky, no doubt about it, but they are likely to go through. They're probably 2 of the most likely teams to go through to the next round, and Netherlands are probably, on paper, the most likely nation to advance to the semi-finals based on their potential run. Locatelli or Berardi, mate? Damsgaard or Damsgaard? Let me think. Yeah, Damsgaard with the capital. Yeah, I'm not going to say that. How many players can we have from each team from the next match day? 5, I believe. Once again, let me check the rules section just to kind of make it clear, because yeah, I might have gotten that wrong. Let's see. Where is it? Maybe I think I've gone over it. Yeah, here. Yeah, it's 5 for the quarterfinals, then 6 for the semis, and 8 for the final. So just like UCL Fantasy. How about someone player hype club for... Wait, what? Someone player hype carry for the club and king points of FPL and also king of captain in FPL. Sorry, I didn't understand that question, Marul. Yeah, my apologies. Olsen, Simon, Stecklenburg, Kubek, and Stones or Stecklenburg, Ward and Alba. Tough, that's tough. I'd probably go for the second set, Marco. Stecklenburg, Ward and Alba. Forson Verratti, I think he's going to start, but I wouldn't get him. He's not really going. I know he's on set pieces, but I wouldn't go for him. Bale or Immobile captain. As a differential, I think Bale's a fantastic opportunity, so maybe it's worth going for him. But yeah, I'm going for Immobile myself for my team. I'm 0.1 million off, having Donnarumma, Kubek and Alba, which is the best case scenario, which is annoying, so trying to downgrade someone to fund it. Yeah, I hate being 0.1 million off or something like that all the time, but yeah, I get it. I think what you've gone for is good. Pavard will play? I think so, Aymar, but it could also be Koundé. Gossens might not play. Yeah, it's looking likely, and to be honest, I never really considered him for match day 4 after being burned by him in match day 3. Bale or Immobile captain? I'd say, yeah, Bale if you want to go for a differential. Forson Kimmich, yeah, he's also another good option around the cheap 6 million players. He's 6.2. But yeah, Pau Torres will play, right? I think so, but I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, Sandra, I answered your question on Pavard. I think he will start. Insigne, nah, not for me. I mean, he's a good option, no, don't get me wrong, but I think you could spend the money better elsewhere, and especially amongst Italy assets. Kimpembe, Pau Torres and Højbjerg, or Pau Torres, Gossens and Damsgaard? Ooh, yeah, well, Gossens is apparently not starting against England, so I'd go for Kimpembe, Pau Torres and Højbjerg. Is Hernandez injured? I think he's travelled with the squad, but it's Digne who's injured. Late suggestion, upgrade Benzema to Mbappe, downgrade Sarabia to Damsgaard, and Stones to Pau Torres. That, very good suggestions, mate. I really appreciate it, and it might actually be worth doing those. Yeah, you know what? I might consider it, to be honest. Yeah, thank you for that. Is Barella playing? Is he a good pick? He's not a good pick in my opinion, and I think he will start. It's between him and Locatelli for that final midfield spot for Italy. Mittal says, team review, Stecklenburg, Olsen, Alba, Spinazzola, Mailer, Dumfries, Mings, Berardi, KDB, Wijnaldum, Yarmolenko, Forsberg, Depay, Benzema, Schick, with wildcard in next game week. So just a few things. I think it will be Stones and Maguire starting in England defence. So unless England play a back 3, where even if that's the case, it could be Walker as one of the centre-backs, I don't think Mings is going to play. So I get rid of him. Other than that, it looks very good. I like your keepers. I like your defence. I like your midfield. You could maybe go for Yarmolenko to a cheaper midfielder like Sarabia or Damsgaard, and you can use that money to upgrade Schick to Benzema or Mbappe, Lukaku or Ronaldo. So that's my suggestions for you. Hopefully you caught that. I think you have a good team. I got anxiety watching you try to sub in the Italy play in the last minute last time around. At this time, mate. Love the stream. Joined your IG as well. You're doing God's work for us fantasy players. Thank you, Kenny. And yeah, that last week was so hectic, and there were so many people watching, and I was trying. I mean, to be honest, I didn't get through that many questions in that day because I was just trying to get my team sorted. You know, I don't want to have it on the back of my mind every time I answer someone's question. And the time was ticking, the site was crashing. It was just an absolute mess. And I appreciate your comment, and yeah, hope to engage with you and many more in future live streams and videos. Okay, here we go with the kind of puns. I've seen that one before, mate. Gareth Bale or Ice, and I'm not going to say the rest. Damsgaard and Alba or Sarabia and Stones. good question. I'd probably go for Sarabia and Stones, but they're both good duos. Hernandez, Varane, Pavard, or Kimpembe. I'd go for Kimpembe, Dan. Sarabia or Forsberg. I'd go for Forsberg. Sancho time soon for United, I think, but not for England. Does Bruno save energy for next season's FPL points? I think he might, actually. And yeah, that's what you were saying earlier, wasn't it? Yeah, I think you're right. But to be honest, for Portugal, he's never really been that impressive. We'll see if that changes in the future. Which winner of each game will play the winners of what games? Okay, that's a very good question. This is something I talked about as soon as the group stages was over. So let's actually give you a visual example. So if you go on the Euro Fantasy, or just the Euro page, the games section, go to games, and then go to Tournament Predictor. And then click it. There's two. There's Match Predictor and Tournament Predictor, but you want the Tournament Predictor. So go on Knockout Predictor here. And as you can see, I predicted Belgium apparently to win it. It's just a rough one. So this is this is how it's looking. So whoever wins between Belgium and Portugal will face the winner of Italy, Austria. So it could be Belgium versus Italy, or even Portugal against Italy. France against Switzerland. Whoever wins that faces the winner of Spain, Croatia. The winner of Sweden, Ukraine faces the winner of England and Germany. And the winner of Netherlands, Czech Republic faces the winner of today's game, the game going on now, the deadline has passed by the way, of Wales, Denmark. So hopefully you caught that. And then going into the semi-finals, the winner of Belgium, Italy will face the winner of France and Spain. This is all hypothetical, by the way. And then for the other ones, the winner of Sweden, England will play the winner of Netherlands, Denmark. So this is what I've kind of gone for. And then that would be the semis and the final, supposedly. But I'm not so sure if it's going to turn out that way. I might change that prediction, by the way. And the deadline's passed. Can't do anything about it. Immobile is my captain. And I've got no Welsh players, for example. But I've got quadruple Italy. So my final team is Donnarumma in goal, Spinazzola, Mailer, who is starting today, Dumfries, Wijnaldum, Sarabia, De Bruyne, De Berardi, Benzema, Immobile, who's my captain, Depay up front, and my bench is Stecklenburg, Forsberg, Kimpembe, and Stones. And remember, always order your bench in terms of the date. So, for example, Donnarumma is playing today, Stecklenburg's playing tomorrow. So if Donnarumma blanks, I can bring on Stecklenburg. Forsberg plays on the 29th, I believe. Kimpembe plays on the 28th, and so does Stones. He plays on the 29th. So pretty much everyone here plays on the 26th or the 27th, and there's a few players who play on the 28th, like Benzema, but it should all be fine. In terms of the captaincy, and I'll be keeping you updated with the community posts on YouTube, my captain for tomorrow will be Memphis Depay. If my captaincy today fails, and on the 28th of June, on Monday, my captain would be Benzema, and on the Tuesday, my captain would be Forsberg. So hopefully you caught all of that. Hopefully you do really well this week. I wish you all the very best of luck. And it's going to be a big ride. It's going to be a hectic ride here. And thank you everyone who has watched. I really appreciate it. I'll try to go through any questions and comments that I missed, so apologies for that. Is Walker playing? I think he will play, Boris, but I'm not entirely sure. Spinazzola, Immobile or Berardi captain? Immobile for me, as I said before, Jose Manuel, and Spinazzola would have been my second choice. No problem, Digor. Thank you very much, for watching. Really appreciate it, mate, and all the best of luck to you as well. Lukaku, Benzema, Griezmann. I would have said Benzema for this week, but Lukaku's the best option overall. How many points are you on? At the top of your screen, as you can see, I am on 184 points. So it's been a very poor start so far. Di Lorenzo's starting, it's confirmed. Yeah, fair enough. I'm not that surprised by that. It's a bit weird how the kind of news comes out just minutes before the deadline. Højbjerg, Damsgaard. Damsgaard for me. Sarabia or Damsgaard? Sarabia. Pogba with a haul. I don't blame anyone with yourself when it happens. Don't blame anyone but yourself when it happens. Well, it could happen, but I just don't see it anyway. If he does get a haul, I don't see him doing it consistently, but fair enough. You've got a different opinion. Yeah, I agree, Diego, but it is what it is. Some people, to be honest, the kind of same questions thing, I don't mind too much, because obviously some people join in later. They might not have heard before, so it makes perfect sense. But, if someone asks a question, I answer it, and then it's asked again and again and again. I don't get the point of me answering the question in the first place, but it is what it is. Berardi or Immobile captain? I'd say Immobile. Thank you, Brian. Really appreciate it. I've subscribed. Thank you very much. And hopefully I can engage with you more in not only obviously on YouTube with future, I can't even speak at the moment, future live streams and videos, but also on Twitter and Instagram. You can also contact me there, talk about football, whatever you want. Really appreciate it, mate. Stones or Alba? I'd say Alba. If I had enough money, I would have gone for him. Yarmolenko or Damsgaard? I probably would have said Damsgaard because with that money, you could do much. Well, you could do other things. Thoughts on Mike Hawke? I mean, maybe I'm stupid, but I just don't know what you're on about. Thanks, lad. You're doing a great job. All the love from Malaysia. Thank you very much. Big up Malaysia, very lovely country, and wish you all the best this week, and hopefully you do really well. Will Gossens play? So Gupta, very good question. Apparently, according to a tweet which FPL Swede must have quoted or something, I think that Gossens won't be playing and Germany will revert to a back four. Let me check for that. Jesus, I can't speak. My apologies. Let me check this news. See where it came from, because obviously I haven't had any time to go on Twitter. I've just literally been here. Literally, Jesus Christ, what am I saying? Trying to find this actually. Was this news earlier then? I can't find it. Let me just type in Gossens then. See if there's any news there. Yeah, no, I actually can't see this news, but yeah, it might be true. Anyway, locked in. Yeah, we're locked in. Flying Dutchman. Obviously, you put that 5 minutes ago. I'm trying to catch up to all the comments. Apologies for that. Thank you, Adil. Gonna watch the game. Thanks for the advice, Dylan. Made some last minute changes, so let's hope they work out. Yeah, good luck. I mean, last minute changes, they could go either way. It could go south very quickly, or it could go all the way up. Really appreciate it, and good luck, Flying Dutchman. Marco, cheers for all the help, mate. May bombard with too many questions sometimes, but I do greatly appreciate a different viewpoint and good advice. Thanks a lot, mate. Good luck this match day. There's definitely no problem with asking a number of questions or whatever. Really appreciate the discussion and obviously contributing towards the channel and the growth. So really appreciate it, Marco, and all the very best of luck to you. Same with you, Couch 2012. Thank you as well, and hope to talk to you very soon as well. Thank you, Jose Manuel. It was a pleasure talking to you as well, and muchas gracias a vos también. Great stream, thank you very much. Really humbled. Thank you very much. I would, as a Polish person saying that, Marul. Yeah, I don't want to butcher your language, but yeah, thank you very much, mate. Really appreciate it. I can't find anything on Gossens as well. Breaking my heart that I know this after the deadline. Yeah, I mean, it might end up being false. I mean, Gossens was so instrumental in Germany's win against Portugal, but Germany are so susceptible at the back. So it might be worth a changing system for Joachim Löw. So we'll see. Greetings from Chile. Oh, greetings. I mean, should I even say it? Well, okay. My family are from Argentina, so yeah, I'm supporting the Argentina national team. Looking very much forward to future Copa America matches. Of course, Argentina-Chile has been a very interesting rivalry in recent times, but yeah, it's all good. And yeah, big up Chile. Obviously, they did play Paraguay the other day. I'm surprised about that result, but Chile could still go far in this tournament. But yeah, big up yourself, big up your family, and big up Chile. And thank you everyone who has been watching. Really appreciate it. A lot of viewers once again, and my team is locked in. And just let's watch the football. Let's enjoy it. All the very best of luck to everyone. And yeah, hopefully you do really well, of course. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram if you wish. You can contact me there, and you can also see, whenever I upload a video, and you can see my teams and, just talk about FPL, UCL Fantasy, and Euro 2020 Fantasy Football. So really appreciate all the support. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.